Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. State police investigators have new information about a deadly hit and run that happened last Friday evening. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg has the latest.
The man and vehicle responsible for the fatal hit and run in Horseheads last week have been located according to state police investigators. Last Friday, New York State Police in Horseheads responded to a car-pedestrian crash around 5 p.m. State police identified 44-year-old John Gearhart as the victim. Gearhart had stopped along the side of Route 14 and was trying to remove a deer carcass from the middle of the road when he was struck by the vehicle. The vehicle then drove away, according to police. The accident closed Route 14 for about 4 hours on Friday. Despite life-saving efforts at the scene, Gearhart was taken to Arno Ogden Medical Center with serious injuries where he was pronounced dead. While the name of the driver is yet to be released by police officials, the Chemung County District Attorney is being consulted regarding possible charges. The investigation remains ongoing. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Horseheads.
The family of a recently paralyzed Ithaca firefighter and EMT is raising money for medical bills. 30-year-old Zach Weber fell from his tree stand while hunting. The 25-foot fall paralyzed Zach, leaving him in a quadriplegic state. He's currently being treated at Upstate Medical University. To donate to Zach's recovery, you can go to spotfund.com and search for Zach Weber. There's a space especially for women at the Arnott Mall. A local woman, Marla Wilson, opened a dance, fitness, and empowerment space all rolled into one. Our Maggie Hall paid it a visit to find out what it means to the women there.
The studio is a lifetime dream kind of thing since I was a little girl. But really what inspired me is the women in my life and the women that are in my life now and the women that are yet to come in my life.
While I dropped in on a Zumba class, it's not only dance here at the studio. They host monthly workshops as well as toning and metabolic workouts.
Really made me step out of my comfort zone because yes, my first class was Iron Step and I'm familiar with step aerobics. I'm not familiar or particularly good at dance, and she offers those dance classes as well. So that's what it's done for me. Step out and you still feel comfortable and just dance it out.
The studio welcomes women of all ages and in all walks of life. Lily is a student at Horseheads High School who started coming to Redefining Diva with her mom.
It really makes me feel empowered and emotional, so I've cried at a few classes because of the love I feel around me when I'm dancing with all of them.
All girls 15 and under are free here. Classes start at $65 for 50 classes, and the dancing looks so fun, even I joined in for a few steps. They even have a studio motto.
Be good to you, be good to others, and love the skin you're in!
To join in on a class at Redefining Diva or to learn more, you can visit Redefining Diva on Facebook or go to redefiningdivawithmarla.com. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Big Flats.
The Elmira Police Department is looking to hire substitute school crossing guards. The positions are only part-time at the moment, but could lead to full-time positions. Applicants will need to pass a background check and medical evaluation. More information can be found on the City of Elmira's website. A surprise float has been promised for this year's Downtown Elmira Holiday Parade. This year will mark the 64th year of the holiday celebration. Some of the other floats returning to the parade include characters from Frozen, Finding Nemo, Sesame Street, and more. The parade will take place November 25th at 10 a.m. Ukraine, climate change, and the economy all high on the agenda for President Biden on day 2 of the G20 summit. Peter Ducey has more from Indonesia.
I'm convinced we're going to come out of this crisis we've been through in the pandemic and other things stronger than we went in.
President Biden putting a heavy emphasis on recovery from the COVID pandemic on the second day of the G20 summit here in Bali. The president meeting with his counterparts from the world's 20 largest economies, pushing for more cooperation on both economic growth and climate change, announcing $20 billion to help Indonesia transfer away from fossil fuels.
As we accelerate our investment and speed transition to clean energy future, to meet the climate crisis head on, we have to make sure that they benefit people everywhere.
But critics are slamming the president for what they see as a failure to push those same issues with Chinese President Xi, pointing out the climate crisis in China is significantly worse.
The last time I checked, we were on the same planet as China, which has almost 2.5 times the emissions that the United States has.
One world leader who isn't at the summit is still having an outsized influence. Russian President Vladimir Putin skipping the G20 as his invasion of Ukraine falters. Now G20 leaders are likely to issue a strong message condemning the invasion, while Ukraine's president addresses the meeting virtually and pressing for more international support as the war grinds on.
We should hold an international conference to cement the key elements of post-war security.
President Biden decided to skip the official G20 dinner on Tuesday. The White House says it's because he has work to do. In Bali, Indonesia, Peter Ducey, Fox News.
Russia launching a barrage of missiles on Tuesday. They were aimed at Ukraine, but at least 2 reportedly hit Poland, a NATO member, raising fears this war could soon expand.
Russia unleashed a massive air attack against Ukraine's energy infrastructure on Tuesday. The entire country now under air raid warnings after launches from the Volgograd region of Russia. Officials say as many as 100 missiles were detected. Some were shot down, but most hit their targets, causing blackouts in almost every major Ukrainian city.
We are aware of the press reports alleging that 2 Russian missiles have struck a location inside Poland near the Ukraine border. I can tell you that we don't have any information at this time to corroborate those reports.
Even as civilians continue sheltering, officials say work to restore power and water is already underway. The attack could be a retaliation for the retaking of Kherson last week, a major victory for Ukraine. But others say it's part of Putin's plan to grind down on the will of the Ukrainian people.
Ukraine is going to take this fight to the finish. Russia has slaughtered too many Ukrainian civilians for Ukraine to stop before evicting Russia.
The attack comes as some Western powers push for peace talks. Ukraine says that won't happen until all Russian soldiers leave the country. But the U.S. has been conducting some high-level talks with Moscow. They say those discussions will continue, but aren't seen as formal negotiations.
And it's important that those channels stay open, particularly so you can avoid any risk of miscalculation.
Officials in Kyiv say today's air attack was the biggest since the start of the war, breaking a record that was set just last month. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Your forecast is coming up next. Plus,
here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
The complexity of the winter weather has begun now. We have seen that the beginning of the system has been more just winter-like. We had that snowfall push its way across Pennsylvania and into New York. But you can see that transition that is starting to occur with this system. And what we'll note that with that snowfall potential, and then on top of that dealing with the changeover, a winter weather advisory will continue through the overnight. So we've already seen snow-covered roads, difficulties with driving conditions, and note that that's going to persist into tomorrow morning, because what we'll see is that snowfall does have the potential to transition over to a wintry mix and even ice potential, and accumulating ice at that. There are potential forecasts of anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of ice that could accumulate, one on potential roadways, sidewalks, slippery commutes out the door, out your own driveway. So note that that's a potential overnight. Now, the good news is that happens in those midnight hours, but many are still on the roadways. Head out early in the morning before that full transition of warmer weather moves in and gives a rainfall potential. So keep yourself aware. Plan now that you may need a few extra minutes out the door. Now, the warm winds is what's causing for this transition, as we will see temperatures into the 40s for our Wednesday. So most of our precipitation, if anything lingers after the system, will be mainly light rain showers. A little blustery up to about 25 miles per hour. But noting those winds, they are coming straight out of the east. So that is running over those Great Lakes. So that is going to persist a chance for some rain to maybe even some snow showers depending on timing when we head from Wednesday night into Thursday morning and potentially again even into Friday as we watch these lake events set up. And they are going to be pretty significant, especially closer over to Buffalo as well as up towards Watertown, New York, where some of that lake effect snowfall is going to dump some snow across areas of New York. Now, what we'll see is we're factoring in the initial system here. This is starting just around midnight. You can see that layer of ice potential there. So icy conditions, but again, that warm air does quickly take over. So the transition over to rainfall does occur. Now, most of that precipitation is out by those early morning hours, but there's that stream of some of that lake effect rain and snowfall in place. So some of that extends over towards the Finger Lakes. It's going to be very light accumulation if anything does extend towards the central portions of New York, but it's in place. It's possible because this wind is going to pick up and create a pretty significant event for Lake Ontario and Erie here for the late week into the weekend forecast. But what we'll notice again, temperatures are still on those warmer side. We see 46 for a high on Wednesday, 41 on Thursday, so still a little bit of that warmer wind, but we will get the cooler wind that is going to be dropping out of those Great Lakes and moving in. So some isolated potential again will be around both for Thursday and Friday, keeping us pretty gloomy. But temperatures do pull back. We even see highs into the teens for our Saturday morning. We'll see some sunshine around for the weekend, and we'll keep those temperatures below average before we may be factoring in a warming trend to take over next week.
Why Boston city officials are accusing Walgreens of racism. Jeff Bezos tells shoppers to hold off on big purchases, and Elon Musk deletes free food at Twitter. CJ Papa has today's business briefs.
Boston city officials accusing Walgreens of being racist for closing 3 locations in predominantly black and Hispanic neighborhoods. Walgreens defending the move, saying, quote, when faced with the difficult task of closing a particular location, several factors are taken into account, including things like the dynamics of the local market and changes in the buying habits. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is offering advice to consumers after airing concerns on the state of the U.S. economy.
The economy does not look great right now. Things are slowing down. You're seeing layoffs in many, many sectors of the economy. Take some risk off the table. If you were going to make a purchase, maybe slow down that purchase a little bit. Try to reduce some risk in your business or your life.
The interview coming after reports Amazon is planning to cut 10,000 corporate and tech employees as soon as this week. And there will soon be no such thing as a free lunch for Twitter workers. New owner Elon Musk is scrapping free meals at the company's San Francisco headquarters after claiming it cost the company $400 per person and $13 million per year. Musk tweeting, there are more people preparing breakfast than eating breakfast. They don't even bother serving dinner because there's no one in the building. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
There's another slight improvement in the latest reading on inflation. The Producer Price Index rose 8% in the year ending in October. From September to October, prices were up 0.2%, but core prices excluding food and energy were flat from September to October and up 6.7% in the year ending in October, also an improvement. The PPI measures inflation at the wholesale level. Well, anyone looking for a last-minute holiday deal on flights may be out of luck. Industry experts warn booking now is going to hurt your wallet. Bill Mulligan is in Los Angeles with more.
It's a nightmare to even think about traveling during the holidays nowadays. I have zero joy. I have lost all the joy from my holiday travel.
If you still haven't booked a flight for the holidays, prepare to find very little joy in looking for a cheap flight. Travel experts warn the best deals for airfares and hotels are likely already gone. Demand is sending prices to all-time highs, with costs of some flights up more than 40% when compared to this time last year.
Yeah, I spent probably $250 more than I would have liked to.
So what's causing the price hike? Well, airlines are reportedly still operating fewer flights despite data showing passenger numbers are nearly back to pre-pandemic levels. Some major airlines are using bigger planes with more seats to offset this, but some travelers say that's just not enough. Many are already complaining of price gouging.
There is a sense of urgency. If you're flying for Thanksgiving and Christmas, you should book now. Prices on average are only going to increase between now and both Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Hotels are also struggling with labor shortages, which is leading to more expensive bookings. Car rentals, which saw a boom in 2021, aren't too pricey. Experts, however, warn availability may be an issue this year due to the cost of new cars. If you do manage to book a last-minute flight, don't forget to download your airline app. Airport officials say that's the easiest way to rebook if your flight gets canceled or delayed at the airport. In Los Angeles, Bill Malugin, Fox News.
Still ahead, the UN Climate Change Summit continues with world leaders addressing the impact of the warming planet. Meanwhile, activists continue protests for industrialized nations to do more to address climate issues. That story ahead. The 27th United Nations Climate Change Conference is heating up in its final week as protesters, activists, and world leaders try to establish policies to combat toxic greenhouse gas emissions. Ted Lindler has the latest.
No one is immune.
Dire warnings, pleas for help, and protests erupting as the 27th United Nations Climate Summit continues in Egypt.
The only way to create true change is to build coalitions that act.
Officials from roughly 200 countries are in a mad dash to establish policies curbing rising global temperatures.
These are the young people taking up on their stand. They are stepping up and they are leading the climate movement just to ask for the world leaders to listen to us.
Activists, meantime, are demanding climate reparations, calling on richer nations to offer financial protections to poorer countries who don't produce high volumes of greenhouse gases, but who suffer devastating environmental impacts from some of the world's top polluters.
Last year, there was basically one person being displaced per second due to extreme weather events. Vulnerabilities in many cases are leading to conflict, competition over resources, forcing people to move, and unfortunately in some situations that's erupting into violence.
For activists like 72-year-old Dorothy Hildebrandt, her efforts to raise awareness for climate issues began months before the summit.
We have to do something now.
Hildebrandt recently arrived in Egypt after biking there from her native Sweden. Using her bike she lovingly named Miss Piggy, she pedaled more than 5,400 miles across 3 continents, calling for everyone to lower their carbon footprint.
Thousands of academic workers at California's prestigious public university system, the University of California, are on strike. The huge walkout has the potential to be the nation's largest academic workers' strike. All this comes at an important time for the university as students are getting ready for final exams in December. James Torres has more on the workers' demands.
What kind of power? Union power!
The United Auto Workers is the union power representing these employees. About 50,000 statewide going on strike protesting the UC system, about 9,000 here in Berkeley.
I'm out here fighting to make sure that I don't have to pay as much in rent. I live almost an hour away from campus because the rents closer are just too expensive and I have a really long commute. I don't want to commute that long anymore.
These picket lines are full of academic researchers, grad students, PhD candidates, employees standing tall, calling for demands. They say the UC system is not offering enough pay to live in the Bay Area.
I'm the parent of a 6-year-old.
Demands from the union also call for free passes for public transit and child care subsidies for parents.
It's basically impossible. They don't make enough to pay market rate child care expenses.
A spokesperson for the UC system says they've brought reasonable offers to the table, saying in a statement, the university has conducted over 50 bargaining sessions to understand the complex and unique needs of each of the 4 bargaining units represented by UAW and worked in good faith to offer a fair, multi-year agreement that recognizes the valuable contributions of our postdoctoral scholars, academic researchers, academic student employees, and graduate student researchers. And for those on strike this morning, there isn't really all that much risk. The union is offering them strike pay for anyone who is participating, and they say the strike is legally protected from any retaliation from the UC system.
And here's for that smile we want to leave you with tonight. Exciting news for ranch and holiday enthusiasts. A brand is giving fans the chance to decorate their tree with a condiment. Go figure. Hidden Valley released its new box set, Ranch on a Branch, for a limited time. Yes, you heard that right. It's a spin on Elf on the Shelf and features a stuffed toy, Ranchie, and a storybook. The book tells the story of Ranchie, who wants to become a real bottle of ranch. Fans who want to get their hands on this iconic box or more merchandise featuring Ranchie can purchase it at the Ranch Shop on the Hidden Valley website. I'm Harriet Wallace. Thanks so much for watching.